India, the biggest democracy in the world, is thinking about a big change to how it votes. It's called the One Nation, One Election Bill, and it's been talked about for a long time. This bill wants to have elections for Parliament and all the states at the same time. It was introduced in December 2024, and people are talking about it a lot. Some people think it will make the government work better, and others are worried about what it will do to democracy in India. This bill is going to be important to watch as it goes through the government. It could change a lot about how politics works in India. The idea of one nation, one election came about because India has a lot of elections. With so many political parties and so many people voting, there are elections all the time. This shows how strong democracy is in India, but it can also make it hard to govern, grow the economy, and keep things peaceful. There are rules during elections called the Model Code of Conduct to make things fair, but these rules can slow things down. The One Nation, One Election plan wants to make voting easier and fix these problems. People who like the bill say it will save time and money that can be used for other things. They say the election rules stop the government from doing its job and hurt the economy. By having all the elections together, the government wants to make it easier to plan for the future. They think this will make the government better and help the economy grow, which is good for everyone in India, but not everyone agrees. Some people don't like the One Nation, One Election bill because they worry it will hurt India's democracy. They think it will help the bigger national parties and hurt smaller local parties. India's democracy is all about different people and different ideas, and people don't want the government to have too much power. So this bill isn't just about voting, it's about how India's government works. The One Nation, One Election Bill, officially called the Constitution, 129th Amendment Bill 2024, wants to change how India votes. The main change is adding a new rule to the Constitution that lets Parliament decide when to have elections for Parliament and all the states. The bill also changes other rules in the Constitution to make sure all the elections happen at the same time. An important part of the bill is what happens if Parliament or a state's government is dissolved early. The bill says the next election will only be for the rest of the original term. This is to keep all the elections happening at the same time. The goal is to make sure national and state elections always happen together. This bill has started a big discussion about how it will change India's government. People who don't like it say it could hurt the states and make it harder to know who is responsible for what. They worry that national issues will be more important than local issues during elections, which could change how people vote in their state. They think this might make people forget about important local problems. People are also talking about how this bill will change the relationship between the central government and the states. Some people worry that having elections at the same time will help the national party that's in power because national issues might influence how people vote in state elections. They think this could change the balance of power in India's government. This discussion shows how complicated it is to change how voting works in a big and diverse country like India. Many people support the One Nation, One Election bill. They say it will make the government work better and save money. They think having elections at the same time will make things simpler and free up money for important projects. A big reason people like the bill is that it will save money. Having separate elections for Parliament and all the states costs a lot. By having them at the same time, the government can save money and use it for important things like schools, hospitals and roads. People who support the bill think this is a good way to be responsible with money and help people directly. Besides saving money, people who like the bill say it will make it easier for the government to do its job. They say the election rules stop the government from planning for the future. Having elections at the same time will let the government focus on making and following plans. They think this will make the government more stable and help the economy grow. Also, supporters say that having elections at the same time will be easier for the government workers and security forces. Having elections all the time makes these people very busy. Having fewer elections will let them focus on other important jobs. Even though some people like the One Nation, One Election bill, many others don't. Different political parties and groups are worried that it will hurt India's democracy, take power away from the states, and silence different voices in the country. One big worry is that the bill will hurt how India's government works. People worry that having elections at the same time will help the big national parties and hurt the smaller local parties. They are afraid that national issues will be more important than local issues, and this will change how people vote in their state. This could make people forget about what's important in their local area. Another worry is that the bill will take power away from the states. People are afraid that the national government will have too much control over elections and won't let the states run their own elections. They worry that the national government might schedule state elections when it's good for them, which is not fair to the states. People also worry about how difficult it will be to have elections at the same time in such a big country like India. They think it will be very confusing to have all the elections together. Also, sometimes the national government takes control of a state, and this could mess up the plan to have elections at the same time. The One Nation, One Election bill is a complicated issue that could change India a lot. This discussion shows that India needs to change how it votes, but it also needs to protect its democracy. It's important for everyone to talk about this and find a solution that makes India's democracy stronger and fixes problems with how elections work now.